I'm just about to attempt to hang some curtains on these windows behind me. So if you clicked on this video because you just want to see how to hang curtains without any tools, there are timestamps in the description box down below the video. So go ahead and use the chapter markers to skip ahead to whatever part of the video is relevant to you, because I'm going to go over a few things to consider before you hang your curtains. I'm going to walk you through the things that I purchased in order to be able to hang my curtains, and then we are going to go ahead and put them up together. But first, I just wanted to say a few words to my subscribers. If you are subscribed to my channel for the daily workouts and you're wondering where the workouts have been, they're coming back, I promise. I will definitely be back with new workouts very soon, and I will explain my absence and where I've been. You know, I was posting new workouts pretty regularly through the end of last year, like through most of December, and then I got really busy because it was the holidays and I had a bunch of family coming to visit me. There was a ton of stuff I needed to get ready for work, and there was a ton of stuff I needed to do around the house, and then the holidays came and went, and then Los Angeles caught on fire and we had hurricane winds. Everything just got incredibly messy and crazy, and then I got really bogged down just kind of doing things around the house, and I broke the habit of daily workouts. So I have been missing it. I've been wanting to get back to sharing my workouts regularly on YouTube, and I'm realizing that it's just about time for my annual slap challenge. If you remember last year, we did the 5th annual slap challenge. That's where we do at least 40 squats, at least 40 lunges, at least 40 reps of an ab exercise, and at least 40 push-ups a day, every single day except Sundays, for 40 days. Last year was the 5th year in a row that I did that challenge, and I would like to do it again this year, and I would like to share new videos with you. So if you are interested in joining that challenge, it will begin next Wednesday, March 5th, I want to say. Yes, March 5th, we'll start our 6th annual slap challenge. So SLAP, S-L-A-P, stands for squats, lunges, abs, and push-ups. This year, the challenge is going to be geared more towards beginners and those of you that do not have any exercise equipment. We're going to be focusing almost exclusively on bodyweight exercises. So if you have been subscribed to my channel and you're missing the workouts, don't worry, they are returning very soon. And if you're not subscribed, but you are interested in getting in shape with me at home with little to no equipment in about 10 minutes a day, the challenge starts next Wednesday, March 5th. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, that's days 1 through 4 of the challenge. Sundays, we will rest. Sundays are our rest days. But other than that, we are doing 40 squats, 40 lunges, 40 reps of an ab exercise, and 40 push-ups a day, every single day, Monday through Friday. So it's every day except Sundays for 40 days. So that means that day 40 of the challenge is going to be the day before Easter. So if you do this challenge with me, if you start now, you will be able to see by Easter, so before summer, you will be able to start to see some good changes in your body. You will be able to see changes in your body composition. You'll be able to see yourself getting stronger. So now is the time to start. So I very strongly encourage you, if you are looking to get fit at home, to start by checking out my upcoming slap challenge. 40 squats, 40 lunges, 40 abs, 40 push-ups a day, every single day, except Sundays, for 40 days. If you feel like you can't do squats, lunges, abs, or push-ups, yes, you can. Please remember that this challenge this year is going to be geared towards beginners, and I will be providing beginner modifications for every single exercise, as well as instruction, detailed instruction. All of my workouts are free, so please check those out. There is already a slap playlist from last year, so if you are more advanced, you can still do the challenge. You can do the workouts that I did last year for the challenge, or you can just modify the workouts that I'm going to be sharing this year. The challenge is very, very easy to customize because you can do any version of those 4 exercises, squats, lunges, abs, and push-ups that you want. So obviously we'll get more into that next week, but for my subscribers and my regular viewers and those of you who have been working out with me on a regular basis the last few years, I just wanted to let you know that I will be back. We will be doing the slap challenge again this year, so get ready for that. It starts next Wednesday, March 5th. And if you haven't been watching my workouts or working out with me, please consider subscribing to my channel and then keep an eye out for the slap challenge that starts next week. All right, so on to the curtains. Here's the thing is that because of my ADHD or my OCD or whatever is driving me, when my family was coming to visit, there was a lot of stuff that needed to be done around the house to get ready to have all those people here. And I tend to get really hyper focused on things. So once I started doing all these things around the house, I started seeing all these other things that needed to be done or that I wanted to tackle. So I've been working a lot on like doing yard work, working on, weeding around the house and cutting back all of this ivy on the side of the house that gets completely out of control. I've been doing a lot of like spring cleaning stuff because it's nice and warm here in LA. So I got kind of sidetracked from doing the workouts on a daily basis, but I got super into like getting to all these things around the house that I've been meaning to get to, some of them for like years. And one of those things is some kind of window treatment here because this window behind me is completely bare and it needs a little something. So I decided to hang curtains there. But I didn't want to have to deal with drilling holes in the wall. So I wanted to find an alternative, and I think I found something that's going to work. So here's what we're going to attempt today. So I am going to be using these curtain rod hooks from Command. All right, that is how we are going to hang the curtains, and let's just hope that it works. There's a couple of other things that I bought, but before I get into showing you everything I bought and before we hang the curtains, I do just want to go over a couple of things that you might want to consider before you buy anything. So the first thing that I considered before making any purchases was color. I have this kind of like teal blue color on my couch cushions that I wanted to bring out. So I was thinking about something in this family. It wasn't necessary for me to match this blue exactly, but I just wanted to bring out the blue. So obviously that's a personal choice, but you want to consider the wall color. So these walls are obviously white adjacent. I don't know what you would call them. I don't think they're white, but I don't know, like eggshell or something. I don't know. But the walls are essentially white. I could have gone with white curtains and I think they would have looked fine, but that's really not the look I was going for. I really wanted to bring some color to the room and to this wall. So I knew I wanted to bring out this blue that's in my couch cushions. There's also some yellow in them, but I wanted something a little bit kind of like grounded. I don't know. I didn't want something so bright, but I also didn't want brown. So the blue was perfect. I knew right off the bat that I wanted to find something blue. I also knew that I wanted my curtains to be sheer. I'm not looking for blackout curtains. I have blinds on these windows, and my plan is to, I don't think I'm ever going to be drawing the curtains closed. I think I'm going to want to keep them open. So it's not for privacy. It's not to darken the room, because my blinds are what I'm used to using for that. It's really more just to have like some visual interest on this wall and some color. But that's another thing you need to consider is, are you going to be drawing the blinds closed? Are you going to be keeping them open? And what purpose do your curtains serve? So when you close the blinds, do you want them to keep out the light? Do you want privacy? Do you want people to not be able to see in? Or when they're closed, do you still want light to be able to come in to the room? So I knew that I wanted light to be able to come into the room. I like having light in the room. The first thing I do when I get up every day is open up all the blinds and get as much sunlight in here as I can. So I wanted some color, and I wanted a darker color. So like I wanted to pull out the blue from my couch cushions as opposed to pulling out the yellow. But I didn't want it to kind of like weigh down the room. This is a small house. This is a small living room. So I didn't want anything that was going to kind of make the room feel smaller or like more closed in, because I get kind of claustrophobic. So that's why I like everything to be kind of open. So you want to consider the color. You want to consider how that's going to look up against the walls and with your furniture. And you want to decide if you want the curtains to kind of blend in and kind of just complement everything else in the room, or if you want them to be kind of an accent. And then you also want to think about the opacity. Did I just make that up? That's a word, opacity. Yeah, so like if you want real thick, dark, blackout curtains that you can't see through that are going to provide privacy and keep the sunlight out, or do you want something more sheer that you can see through and that's going to let sunlight in? And how much of a factor is that going to be? Are you going to draw your curtains closed, or are they going to stay open? So those are the first things that I considered. So I decided that I wanted something blue and something sheer. And I also decided that I'm pretty sure my curtains are going to stay open, but regardless, I wanted something sheer so that if they're closed, I know that sunlight is still going to be able to come in. They're not going to provide me with 100% privacy, because people will still be able to see inside unless I close my blinds. So once you've decided what color and what level of opacity, I'm pretty sure that's a word. I should look it up before I continue. But once you've decided those things about your curtains, the next thing I think you need to think about is how long you need your curtains to be. And the way you figure out how long you want your curtains to be is, first of all, to think about how low to the ground you want your curtains to hang. So there are certain places in your house where you might want your curtains to kind of stop right underneath the window. For me, I want my curtains to come all the way down to the floor. That's just what I think looks pretty. That's the look I'm going for. So you need to decide if you want your curtains to stop above the floor, if you want them to just touch the floor, or if you want them to kind of gather on the floor. That's a look, that's a choice that a lot of people make. I'm not crazy about that one. I kind of want them to just kind of graze the floor. That's what I'm going for. Hopefully I can get them in just the right spot, but that's something to think about. So once you figure out how low you want your curtains to, like where you want the bottom of the curtain to be, if you want it to be touching the floor, or if you want it to be a couple of inches higher than that or lower than that, then you need to measure up to the top of the window. And you also need to decide where you want your curtain rod. So some people like to have the curtains start right at the top of the window, right where the window frame starts, and that's a choice. My preference is to have the curtain rod sit a few inches higher than the windowsill, and hopefully a few inches wider. We'll see how that works out. But if you have your curtain rod up above, so like a few inches above the windowsill, I think that it gives a nice look. I think it kind of, I don't know that it makes the room look any bigger. I think people will tell you that it like elongates the wall or something. I don't know about any of that. I just think it looks nice. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get the curtain rod exactly where I want it, because if I have to choose, I would prefer to have the curtain rod a little bit lower if it means that the curtains will graze the floor, as opposed to opting to have the curtain rod where I want it, but then have the curtains like stop, 9 inches above the floor. That's not what I want. So decide where you want your curtains to lie, how you want them to look, how high you want them to be, how low you want them to be, and where you're willing to compromise. What's your priority? Is your priority to have the curtain rod up where you want it, or is your priority to have the bottom of the curtains where you want them? So think about that and then measure it out, figure out what length of curtains you need. And then you also may need to consider width. So for me, I didn't worry too much about width because, like I said, I don't think I'm really ever going to have the curtains drawn closed. But if your plan is to have your curtains drawn at any point, think about how you want them to hang. So when you push your curtains to the side and they're gathered on the side, they're gonna be gathered, right? They're gonna be bunched together. When you draw the curtains closed, think about how kind of flat you want them to look. Do you know what I'm saying? So like when you draw them closed, you still want them to be a little wavy. You don't want them to be drawn taut. You don't want them to just barely touch and then the material's kind of hanging flat. If you want it to still have like waves in it, then that means you're going to need something with a longer width. So you don't want a width that's like the exact width of the windows, because then when you draw the curtains closed, they might be like a little bit too flat for your liking. So think about that as well. But once you've got all that decided, go ahead and measure. You're going to need to measure the length and the width that you need. So if you have a tape measure, go ahead and grab that. And then let's go ahead and measure how wide we want the curtains to be. So I'm just going to measure the distance of these two windows together. So I'm just putting the edge of my tape measure here and then just pulling it all the way across. I can see that this distance is 79 inches. So let's go ahead and round that up to 80 just to make it easy. And then let's figure that we want a couple of inches on either side so that the curtain rod isn't starting right here. You want it to be a little bit out wider than the window frame, right? So if you add a couple of inches on each side, then we're looking for 84 inches. So then the next thing that you need to do, I promise the tape measure is the only thing you're going to need to hang these curtains. The next thing I'm going to do is measure the length from the floor to above the windowsill where I would like my curtain rod to hang. Okay, so my tape measure is just touching the floor, just barely touching the floor. And where I would like to have my curtain rod ideally is up a few inches, about 4 inches above the windowsill. And that is 89 inches. If I have them, can you see that? If I hang the curtain rod right about here, that is 89 inches from the floor. Ideally, that's what I would like to have, but I also want to take note of the fact that right here, right above the windowsill, so if I need to go a little bit lower, I want to note that this is 84 inches from the floor. So the lowest I really want to go is 84 inches. So my curtains need to be somewhere between 84 inches and say 90 inches to achieve the look that I want. All right, so after I did all of my planning and my measuring, it was time to go shopping. I went to a few different places, but at the end of the day, you guys, I found everything I needed for this project at Target, and I bought everything I needed in one shopping trip at Target. So here's what I got. I already showed you the command hooks, and you can see the picture, and I don't know if you can read this, but it says curtain rod hooks. So that is exactly what these are designed to do, is what we're doing with them. And it says that these hold up to 5 pounds of weight. So that's another reason why my curtains had to be really sheer and lightweight, because if you do want to do a heavier, thicker curtain, this method is not going to work. In that case, you are going to need to hang your curtains in a more traditional way. So you are going to have to get like a stud finder and a drill and all that stuff, okay? If you want to do this quick, easy method that I'm using, these hooks only hold 5 pounds of weight. So you're going to have to make sure that your curtains are nice and lightweight. Remember, the hooks need to hold not only the weight of your curtains, but the weight of your curtain rod. Okay, so consider all of those factors. I actually bought 2 packages of these. The reason being, I don't know if I'm going to need a hook in the middle. I want my curtain rod to go straight across. I don't want to do like a curtain here, a curtain there. I want one rod going all the way across. So I don't think that the weight of my curtains is going to be enough so that the rod is like weighted down and kind of dipping in the middle. But in case that happens, I don't want to have to run back to the store. So if I do end up needing a third hook in the middle, just to make sure that the rod doesn't kind of dip, I have that ready to go. And then I figure if I don't need this, that's great, because if this method that I'm about to do right now works well for this front window, I definitely will do this on another window in the house, and then I have my hooks ready to go. So and if I don't end up using them for that, these are versatile enough, I'll definitely use them for something. So that's why I bought 2 packages, but hopefully I'm only going to need 1 package of these. And these were $9.99 a piece at Target. So this package with 2 hooks in it costs $9.99. Now those come with the adhesive strips already in the package. So that might be all you need. That's the way it's packaged. But when I saw other people doing this, they were coupling these hooks with these strips, okay? So these are the large picture hanging strips, and you can see that these will hold up to 15 pounds of weight. So what I was seeing other people doing when I was trying to figure out how to do this, they were not using the adhesive strips that came in this package. They were using these hooks with these adhesive strips, okay? Just to make sure that, because these, it says they hold 5 pounds a piece, but I don't think you want to like kind of test that limit. So I think using these is going to make me feel better about it. I'm going to feel like it's more secure. These, how much did these cost? These were $10.99 at Target. So that obviously added an extra $11. I was trying to do this as cheaply as possible. So if you feel confident in just using these and using the adhesive strips that come in here, then you can save yourself $11 by not buying these. But I bought these because I want to use these adhesive strips with these hooks so that they'll be a little bit sturdier, they'll hold more weight, and I won't worry about the curtain rod falling down. But if you feel like this is sufficient, then you can save yourself the $11. And then so far, if you only end up using these 2 hooks with the adhesive strips that come in this package, so far you've only spent $10. All right, so I've got my hooks, I've got my adhesive strips. The next thing I need is a curtain rod. And remember, I need my curtain rod to be more than 80 inches. So I found this one. Again, you guys, I was trying to do this as cheaply as possible. And obviously I wanted black because I got the curtain hooks in black. I want my curtain rod to match the curtain hooks. Keep in mind too that how much is a can of spray paint? A couple of bucks. So keep in mind too that if you find hooks that you love but they're not the same color as the curtain rod that you love, or you're trying to stay within a budget and the color you want is just too expensive, keep in mind that you can always like spray paint a curtain rod pretty easily. So let's say I could only find one that was like silver, that was in my price range, a couple $dollars on a bottle of, or a can of spray paint, and you could probably just spray paint it to match. So that's something else to consider if you're on a really tight budget. But I found this black curtain rod and I was looking for black, so that works. And this one was only $11 and it's nice and thin. That's the other thing too. Before you buy your curtain rod, if you're using these hooks, make sure you read the package, okay? Because it does say if you are going to buy a curtain rod that's like 1 inch in diameter, it's not going to work with these hooks. It's going to be too thick to fit in the little notch, okay? So it tells you right on here, use with 1/2 inch or 5/8 inch diameter rod, okay? So make sure that your curtain rod is going to fit in your hooks. So this one's nice and thin. It was only $11. It was super cheap. This was the cheapest one they had, and it was good enough for me. Now, if you want to get one with like really pretty, like decorative finials on the end, those are going to be more expensive, but keep in mind that you can buy finials on their own. So you could always just get a cheap rod and take off the finials and replace them with bigger, fancier, finials. So that's another option and another way to kind of stay in your budget. You have to kind of balance, between, is your priority to do it as cheaply as possible, or is your priority to make it something that you're going to want to look at? I wanted to keep it as cheap as I could, but you have to decide where you're willing to kind of give a little on the budget. So I told you I wanted blue, and I told you I wanted lightweight, opaque curtains. I couldn't find them anywhere. Finally at Target, these suckers were on clearance for $12.50. And this is one panel, 84 inches. So you guys, I got 2 panels for $25, $12.50 each. So that part I was just really, really lucky, and I happened to find exactly what I was looking for on clearance. Now, if I had not already decided that I wanted blue, I still might have gotten these because the price was right. So if I hadn't been able to find blue, I probably would have settled for something else. So don't necessarily expect to find exactly what you're looking for such a good price like I did. I just happened to get really lucky there, but my curtains all together, this is $12.50, this is $12.50, so $25 for both panels, which is a great price. Now, I was definitely trying to do this on a budget. If these had been full price, I still probably would have purchased them because it is exactly what I wanted. This blue sheer lightweight fabric. But that's something you're, again, going to need to decide where you're willing to compromise, because if spending $25 on each of these was my only option to get the color I wanted, I might have just chosen, or you might choose to say, okay, it's not that important to get the blue, it's more important to stay on budget. So what can I find that's, under $15 or whatever. So again, you just have to kind of figure out where your priorities are and where you're willing to compromise. But I got incredibly lucky, and $12.50 for each of these. That means that the curtains themselves cost a grand total of $25. The curtain rod was $11, and I'm not going to get big fancy finials. I'm going to do it right like this. So that brings my running total so far, $25 plus $11 is $36. And then the hooks were another $10. So that's $47. Okay, so if this is all I end up needing, and I am also going to add another, what did I say, $11 to that for me. But if you want to do this project, it is absolutely within reason that you can keep your total cost to under $50, okay? If you can get a good deal on the curtains like I did, if you can get a nice cheap rod, and all you use is these hooks with these adhesives, the grand total for just this much is $46. So add a few dollars for tax and you're right at about $50 for the entire project, which is amazing. Now, like I said, I bought 2 packages of the hooks just in case I need a third hook. And I bought these large picture hanging strips so that my hooks would be a little bit sturdier. So that's another $21 added to my total. But again, I may or may not even need to use a third hook. I just bought it just in case. But even so, even with buying that extra package of hooks, and even with spending the $11 on the heavy duty adhesive, my total was still under $75 with tax included. Here's my receipt. So $19.98 for the hooks, $25 for the curtains. You can see they were on clearance, $12.50 a piece. And then $10.99 for the heavy duty large picture hanging strips. And you can see that my grand total is a little bit more than $75, but that's because I also bought a pack of gum. Without the pack of gum, the pack of gum was $1.89. So without the gum, we came in under $75. And again, that's with possibly an extra package of hooks that I might not even need to use, and my choice of buying the large picture hanging strips, just so that I feel like the hooks are capable of holding a little bit more weight and they're gonna be more sturdy. I'm not gonna worry about them falling down. But even with that, $75, that's my grand total for everything, and that includes possibly more than I'm even going to need. All right, so now I've got my package of curtain rod hooks. I've got an extra package of curtain rod hooks just in case I need a third one. I've got my large picture hanging strips. These are optional, but I have chosen to use these so that my hooks can hold a little bit more weight. I've got my curtain rod and I've got my curtains. So let's go ahead and hang them. I'm going to pull the couch away from the wall so that I have a little bit of room to work. And then I'm going to clean the wall where I want to hang my hooks. You always want to make sure that the wall is nice and clean. So get some alcohol and just take a minute to clean off those spots. And then we're going to hang up the hooks and get these curtains up. I'm excited. All right, so my couch is out of the way. I have space to work. I also cleaned the area of the wall just above and to the sides of the window frame on each side. Just cleaned the general area where I'm going to be hanging my hooks so that the wall is nice and clean and the adhesive will stick to it better and it'll be more secure. The next thing I'm going to do is to figure out exactly where the hooks are going to go. And to do that, I'm going to start by opening up my curtains and figuring out exactly where I want the top of the curtain to be. And where I want the top of the curtain to be, that's where I want the hook to be, this part of the hook. So I need to figure out where I want the curtains to hang first, and then I'll know exactly where I want the rod to be, and then I'll know exactly where I want the hook to be. So let me get these curtains opened, and then I'm going to figure out the exact placement of my hook. All right, so I'm opening up the hook, and you can see that it comes with this little strip. I'm not going to be using this strip. You can if you want. I'm going to be using the more heavy-duty strips, but the strips are going to be placed right on the back, and then we're just gonna stick this right against the wall. I'm also getting my curtain rod out of the bag. It comes with all of this like mounting hardware. We're not going to be using any of this. This is the stuff that you're going to use if you're going to go the traditional route and get a stud finder and a drill and drill holes in the wall and all that stuff. But we are using the hooks, so we don't need any of this stuff. The only thing we need is the rod itself. Okay, so now I'm just opening up the curtains. And there they are, very pretty. You can see they're nice and opaque. You see all the sunlight still coming in through the window. These are absolutely perfect. They're not the exact shade of teal as my little throw pillows on my couch, but they're close enough. These are going to look just beautiful up there. All right, so I've got my curtains here. Well, I've got one curtain panel. So now I need to figure out where to put my hooks. The hooks are the first thing that's gonna go up, but I need to work backwards to do that, because once I have my hooks up and then I put my curtain rod and then I hang the curtain, I wanna make sure that the bottom of the curtain is kind of brushing the floor. Now, ideally, I would like to have my curtain rod higher. In my mind, I saw putting my curtain rod maybe even up this high, but at least like 4 to 6 inches from the top of the windowsill. But if I do that, if I put the curtain rod up here, then you can see the curtains are not gonna touch the floor. They're gonna be several inches off of the floor. So I have a decision to make. Like I said, I'm trying to do this on a budget, so it's not like I'm going to have like custom drapes made. This is what it is. This is the length I was able to get for this price, and I'm very happy with these. So I have a choice to make. I can either put the curtain rod up where I initially wanted it and then just have the curtain not touching the floor, or I can have the bottom of the curtain where I wanted it in which case my curtain rod is going to be just above the windowsill, which is not what I initially wanted, but it's a choice. So I'm going to opt for this, for option B, compromising on the height of the curtain rod so that the bottom of the curtains touch the ground, because to me, this looks like a choice. It wasn't my first choice, but this is a legitimate choice. A lot of people hang curtains this way. This looks like a mistake. It just looks like I didn't measure correctly or I didn't buy the right length curtains. So I'm going to choose to make that compromise, and I'm going to hang my curtains like this. So that means my curtain rod is going to be, let me go ahead. Oh, the other option I have really is this. So these curtains have these little loops on the back, and it is meant to just put those loops around the curtain rod and hang the curtain like this, which is what I'm going to do. But I could also buy rings and put rings on the curtain rod and attach the rings to these loops so that then it would hang just a little bit lower, because it would be hanging, the curtain itself would be hanging from the ring. So that's another option. I would have to buy rings. I don't have them. I didn't buy them yesterday, and I really don't want that look. I think it's a cleaner look for me. But it's another option. There's nothing wrong with that. And that way it would enable me to put the rod up just a little bit higher. All I would have to do is find black rings, very easy to do. And they don't cost a lot, but honestly, I'd rather just save the couple of bucks and use what I have so I can get this done today. And this is initially how I wanted to hang it anyway, because like I said, I just think it's a cleaner look without the rings. So what I'm doing now is actually just putting the curtain on the rod so that I can hold the rod exactly where it needs to be, so that I know exactly where my hook needs to go. So I've got the panel on the curtain rod. I'm gonna grab my hook, climb back up on my stool, and now I'm gonna do this again. So in order to have my curtain touching the floor, my curtain rod needs to be here, and that means that my hook needs to be here. Now, I'm not yet measuring how far this side of the window frame it needs to be. I'm just measuring the height, and then I'll measure the distance across in a minute. Now I'm just gonna go get a little pencil, and I'm gonna make a mark right here so that I know the exact height that I want my hook at. All right, so I just made a little pencil mark like this underneath the hook. I made a little pencil mark on the wall so that I know exactly how high I need to hang my hook. And now I'm going to make a mark on the other side. So you can repeat the process. You can stand on this side, hold up the curtain, and then figure out where you want your hook to be, or you can just take your measuring tape and measure that length from the ceiling to the mark, and then just make a mark in the identical spot on the other side, whatever is easiest for you. All right, so now I know how high I want my hooks to be. Now I need to figure out how far away, how far right and left from the windowsill I want them to be. So I have this extended, not quite all the way. I don't want to extend it the whole way necessarily. Okay, so what I did is this center piece of the rod, I tried to just line that up the best I could with the middle of the windows here. And I'm gonna say that this is about how far I want the rod to extend on either side of the window. So based on that, I'm going to take this distance on the very end of the rod, this distance from the edge of the windowsill to the very end of the finial. I'm going to divide that in half. I'm just eyeballing it. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect. I'm going to eyeball halfway, and I'm going to say that halfway between the distance between the edge of the windowsill and the end of the finial. That's how far away from the windowsill I want my hook to be. So I'm going to get my pencil again, and I'm going to make a little mark so that I know how far away, how far to the left I want my hook to be. Does that make sense? All right, so I've got my pencil, and I'm just making another mark. This is not the right height, but this is the correct distance to the left that I wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. All right, so now I've got 2 marks here. I need to bring them together. So what I'm going to do is place my hook so that it lines up with the last mark that I made. This is the right distance to the left of the window, but it's not the right height. So what I'm going to do is just slide this up so that it's at the same height as the first mark that we made, but it's at the correct distance away from the window. And I'm going to make a new mark. And now I know exactly where I want to hang my hook. And I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. I have 2 marks on the other side. I'm going to kind of bring them together. So I'm going to place the hook on the most recent mark, and then I'm going to slide it up so that it's that same distance away from the window, but a little bit higher up so that it's the correct distance from the ceiling. All right, so now that I know exactly where my hooks are going to go, it's time to actually hang them. If you are just using the command strips that come with the hook, then you're just going to place the command strip on the back of the hook and press the hook into the wall. I'm not using these. I'm going to use the more heavy-duty ones, the large picture hanging strips. These hold up to 15 pounds. And I also want to say, since we're talking about budget, that this is the value pack. Okay, so I'm sure you can buy smaller packages of this so that it would be a little bit cheaper, because we're only going to be using this. Okay, I'm going to use 2 of these strips on one hook and 2 strips on the other hook. And I still have in here all of these. I definitely don't mind having extra of these because if this works out and I like the way it looks, I do plan on hanging some more curtains using the same method. So I will be needing more of these, and regardless, they're useful for hanging. Oh, there's even another one in there too. How many of these do you get in this value pack? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, but that's another thing. So you can look for a package of these. It's not a value pack where there are fewer of these in the box, and you can save yourself some more money probably doing that. That's another option. But let's go ahead and get this on the back of our hook and then get the hook on the wall. So I'm going to take these and break them in half. I only need 2 of these strips for one hook. Now I'm going to break these 2 in half. And they are going to fit together like this. Okay, so I'm going to use both of them. They kind of Velcro together. So I'm gonna just set this one aside for now. I'm going to take the other strip and I'm going to take this white backing off of the strip. Okay, I'm going to pull this off. And this gets discarded. And then I'm gonna take this sticky side that I just exposed and I'm going to press it on to this plastic backing. This little rounded part of the strip, that's the part that you need to pull the strip off of the wall when you want to remove the hook. So don't get rid of that. Keep that right like that. That's gonna go to the bottom. See how the top is flat and the bottom of the strip is rounded? The rounded part is going to go to the bottom of the hook, okay? So I'm just going to line this up. I'm going to put this sticky side of the strip right on this plastic backing of my hook and press it in. All right, so now this is like a Velcro type of situation that we have happening over here. So now let me grab the other strip and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to peel off this white backing to expose the sticky side here. Dispose of this, we don't need it. And now I'm going to take this strip. Again, make sure that the flat end is on top, the rounded end is on the bottom. You're going to line it up with this strip. Sticky side out, because once we get this stuck on here, this sticky side is what's going to stick the hook onto the wall. So you're going to put the Velcro-y part to Velcro-y part, okay? Just kind of line those up. I grabbed the backing again because I should have done this part before I took off the backing. So I'm going to use the backing because you need to line these up and then you need to press them together. So I'm going to just use the backing. So I'm just pressing the Velcro-y sides together, and you can hear them kind of clicking together. So leave the backing on while you do this. Take the backing off. I took the backing off too soon, but hey, you live and you learn. I didn't think it through. But this is why I'm making this video, so I can make the mistakes and you can avoid them. So now that I've got the two Velcro-y sides meshed together, I'm going to take off this white backing, and now we can dispose of it. And now I'm going to go ahead and stick my hook onto the wall. So I've got my pencil mark on the wall. I know exactly where this is going. I'm just going to line it up to the little pencil mark that I made. Do my best to make sure it's straight up and down. And then once I've got it where I want it, I'm going to just press it into the wall. Press really, really hard. Apply pressure for at least, I'm gonna hold this here probably at least for a good 30 seconds minimum. And really pressing and applying good pressure the entire 30 seconds. And because I'm me, I'll probably do it for quite a bit longer than that. Then what you're going to do is kind of lift up the hook, okay? Lift the hook up and it is going to come off of the backing. So let me show you. That clear plastic piece that was on here is gone now. It's now stuck to the wall, okay? So the reason I did that is just so that it's gonna help me kind of press this more directly into the wall. So I'm just going to really apply pressure without the hook now, so that I can make sure this is really, really adhered to the wall. So it's been a minute or so. I've been applying good pressure the whole time. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the hook back on the plastic piece and slide it down. You'll hear it kind of click into place. Okay, so that side is done. Now I'm going to repeat the same process on the other side. All right, so let's take out the other hook. And then again, it comes with this one little strip. If you're comfortable using just that, then you can just use that. I'm going to set this aside. I'm sure I can use it for something else in the future. And I'm going to instead be using my two little heavy duty picture hanging mounts. So I'm going to break this in half. I'm going to take one of my strips and I'm going to peel off the backing, exposing the sticky side. Throw this away. And now with the flat side on top and the rounded side on the bottom, I'm going to press the sticky side into this clear plastic backing that comes on the back of my hook. So just line these up the best you can and press it on there. Okay, press it in, apply pressure, hold it for a few seconds. And now this is where I got too excited last time and I pulled off the backing first. Leave the backing on, take the other side, so you're matching the Velcro-y side to the Velcro-y side. Line them up as accurately as you can. And once you feel like you have them lined up, go ahead and kind of press them together. All right, so once you feel like the two strips are very well connected to one another, I guess, as you press, you're not hearing any more like adjustments happening, the little Velcro-y sound has stopped, then you can go ahead and peel off this backing. So we're gonna peel off the backing, exposing this sticky side, and now we are just going to go press this up against the wall. So I have my mark. All I need to do is line up the bottom of my hook with the mark that I made. I'll do my best to make sure it's straight up and down. It might not be perfect, but it's close enough. All right, and now once I have the hook where I want it, I'm going to press, and I'm going to hold here, like I said, for a good 60 seconds at least, and apply pressure the entire time. You want to make sure that the hook is really securely adhered to the wall. And then after applying pressure for a good 30 to 60 seconds at least, you can go ahead and lift up on your hook, and the black part is going to slide right off of that clear plastic part. And so now you can really press that into the wall. You can apply even more pressure, and you can apply it directly so that you're not relying on kind of like going through the hook. You can really, really make sure that that is adhered to the wall. So another good 30 to 60 seconds applying pressure without the hook. So then after you've been applying pressure for another good minute or so, you can go ahead and reattach the black part of the plastic hook. Just slide it right down and you'll hear it click into place. There we go. So now that's it. Our hooks are in place. They're mounted to the wall. So the final step obviously is to just hang the curtains. All we need to do is put the curtains on the rod and just place the rod on the hooks and we're done. But I'm not going to do that right away, even though this isn't like wet glue that needs to dry per se. I feel like I still want to give it a little time up there just to make sure that the adhesive is really, really set. So I don't know that this step is necessary, but I feel like it's advisable. I don't know what I'm basing that off of. I just feel like I should kind of let the adhesive set for a little while. So I'm going to take a little break from this, have some lunch, get some stuff done around the house, and then in a good hour or two, I will come back and we'll hang up the curtains, and then I can put the couch back in place and we'll see how it looks. All right, so I read the instructions on the package of these curtain hooks, and it does say after the hooks are up to wait for at least 1 hour before placing the curtain rod and hanging your curtains. So it's a good thing I decided to do that. I actually ended up waiting longer than that. It's been a little bit more than 3 hours. So let's see how I did. It is time to actually hang the curtains. So let's go ahead and open up our second curtain panel. So again, if you want to hang hooks, you can put hooks on here. I'm just going to slide the curtain rod right through. On the top, you can see all of these loops. I'm just going to go ahead and slide this through all of those loops until it's all the way through. Okay, last one. So that's one curtain on the curtain rod. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the other curtain, and that's our last one. Okay, the curtain rod, or the curtains, are on the curtain rod. So now all I have to do is hang it. Okay, and now I'm just going to place my my curtain rod. I'll start on that end so I know how long it has to be. All right, so this is essentially the finished look, but just exactly what I was anticipating. This this curtain rod, because it's so long and it's so lightweight and thin, it was only $11, remember, is kind of dipping down in the middle, and it doesn't look great. And also it makes me worried that the continued pressure of it always adding extra pressure to this middle part of the rod will eventually cause it to break and cause my curtains to fall. So that's why I bought the extra curtain hooks. I was anticipating that this might happen. So what I'm going to do is just add one more hook right here in the middle. For this one, I'm not going to use the heavy duty strips. I'm just going to use the little strip that comes with the hook because it doesn't need to hold up a lot of weight. It's just to keep the rod from dipping in the middle. So I don't think I need to use the heavy duty strips that hold 15 pounds of weight. I think the strip that comes with the hook is going to be just fine for this middle hook. All right, so I have my hook. I'm going to use the strip that came with the hook, and I'm just going to pop this. Oh, hi, you're going to need to move, sweetheart. Little spider living here. I'm sorry, you're going to have to move. You can't stay there. I'm going to put a hook right there. You have to move. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness, this spider was quite happy there. All right, so this is just, I'm sorry, honey. Oh my goodness, this spider is like freaking out. All right, so just right like that, right in the middle is where this is gonna go. And then I think that's gonna be just absolutely perfect. So let's go ahead and upset this little spider some more. I'm sorry, sweetheart. You're very happy there, I know. So I'm actually going to take the rod down so that I can put the hook up. And now I'm just going to clean this area so that the wall is nice and clean. Where's that spider? Honey, you can't stay there. You have to move. Honey, you gotta live. I'm sorry. You can find another spot. Anywhere but there, okay? Remember that it's really important to clean the wall first. If the wall's nice and clean, it's going to help the adhesive strip to stick to the wall a lot better, and you'll get a more secure hold. So now, instead of putting those two pieces together, I'm just gonna use the strip that came with the hook. So, but it's the same thing. I'm gonna take off the adhesive. There's adhesive on both sides, and I'm going to stick the strip to this plastic part on the back of the hook with the flat piece of the strip on the top and the rounded piece on the bottom, and then I'm just gonna press that into the wall. So one of these has a blue liner and one of them has a black and white liner. So we're going to pull off the blue side first. This is the side that's going to attach to the plastic piece on the back of the hook. So we're just going to pull this off, exposing the sticky side, and we'll throw this away. Then we take the sticky side and just press it, line it up with this clear plastic backing on the back of the hook, and just press it in. Apply pressure for a few seconds. And then from here, it's the same thing. I'm just going to peel off this backing with the black writing that's still on there, exposing the sticky side. And now we're just going to press this into the wall. So this one's super easy. I don't have to measure anything. I'm just lining it up with the center of the window, and I'm placing it right on top of the ledge so that the bottom of the hook is actually touching the ledge. So there we go. Try to make sure it's straight up and down. And once it's where I want it in place, I'm going to press and hold for about 30 to 60 seconds, applying pressure the entire time. And then after about 30 to 60 seconds, again, you're going to lift the hook up off of the plastic backing and press. So now that clear plastic backing is no longer attached to the hook. It is attached to the adhesive, which is attached to the wall. So we're going to press and hold this in place for, again, about 30 to 60 seconds, applying pressure the entire time. All right, so I've been applying pressure for about 60 to 90 seconds, something like that, about a minute or two. Feels pretty secure. So now, again, I'm going to take the black plastic piece and I'm going to slide it back into place, and you're going to hear it click into place once it's securely fastened to that little bracket, or not a bracket, what do you call that? Here we go. All right, so that is nicely in place. But again, before I hang the curtain rod on there, I'm gonna give it a solid hour to set in place and make sure that the adhesive is all the way dry and that it's really securely on the wall. So another hour, we should be good. With these end ones, I waited a good 3 hours, but it says to wait 1 hour. And again, since this middle one is not really holding up a lot of weight, I think it'll be fine to just let it sit for an hour. So I'll come back in an hour and I will hang the curtains, and then I think we're really done. So it's been just over an hour since I hung the third hook in the middle. If it was earlier in the day, I would probably wait longer. I would probably give it another couple of hours like I did with the outside hooks, but I really think an hour is sufficient for this middle hook, and I want to get this done. So let's go ahead and get the curtains up and see how they look. So actually having them like this is going to make them easier to hang, because I can just start in the middle and I can put the middle of my rod right on that middle hook. And then it's nice and easy to just put the ends on there. And I think we're done. Just kind of adjusting it to make sure it's even on both sides. I think that looks pretty good. I think it's pretty much even. Oh my gosh, you guys, they look absolutely beautiful. And they're just brushing along the bottom. The bottoms of the curtains are just brushing along the floor exactly like I wanted. It's the exact height I wanted. Oh my gosh, the color is gorgeous. So that's it. These are done. Now, a couple of things. You guys, I suck at like DIY stuff. Like, I can't even believe I did this. And now that I've done it, I'm happy with this. For a first attempt at ever doing something like this came out great as far as I'm concerned. And I stuck within the budget that I wanted to. That being said, here's what I would recommend doing differently. Number one would be getting a more substantial curtain rod. Yes, this one was super cheap, and yes, it's fine. It's gonna be fine up there. However, if I had gotten a more substantial curtain rod, I think that I might have been able to not use the middle hook. I might have decided to use one anyway, just because the curtain rod is so long, and with only using these command hooks to hold the curtains, I still would probably want that extra support in the middle. But also, because this curtain rod was only $11, it's very, very thin. I would recommend getting something that's a little bit thicker, that kind of, it fits into the hook part a little bit more snugly. So like a wider diameter, make sure it's not too wide. Remember to follow the directions on the package of the curtain hooks. But if I would have gone with something a little bit wider, it would have kind of filled out that space. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like in the little crook of the crook of the hook. Oh my God. All right, I need to wrap this up because I'm going insane. But the reason I say that is, so now I drew them closed just to see what this looks like if ever I would want to like draw the curtains closed. This is not the look I wanted for when the curtains are drawn closed. However, with the fact that these curtains have the look that I want, in as much as they are blue and they are sheer, and they are the right length, I'm fine with that because, as I said from the get-go, I wasn't ever planning really on having them drawn shut. And even so, even though this is not what I was envisioning, I actually am not mad at this. I think this looks pretty, and so if I ever do want to draw them shut, I think this is fine. That being said, I don't think that they're going to be drawn shut. But you can see that how it's kind of like I was saying, it's kind of like taut. Do you know what I mean? It has pleats, so it's not going to be completely like taut like this, but I would prefer not to have this like stretched to the limit. Like I would prefer that when they were drawn that they still looked gathered. Do you know what I mean? But that being said, again, I don't plan on really ever having them drawn, so I'm fine with that, but it's just, again, something to think about. And then the other thing with my rod that I don't like is, and again, this is not gonna end up being a super like big issue for me because I don't plan on moving them back and forth. But if you do plan on like drawing your curtains closed at night for privacy and then during the day opening them and letting in some sunlight or whatever you plan on doing with them, if you do plan on drawing them open and closed, I will say that because this curtain rod is so thin and it doesn't fit snugly in the little crooks, that when I go to move the curtain, I have to be careful because it's very easy. The whole curtain rod is liable to slide with the curtain. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm doing it very carefully now, but yeah. So you see what I mean? So as I'm moving the curtain to the side, the entire rod is moving with it because it's sliding. It's so thin that it's able to like just slide very easily through here. So that's something else to keep in mind, something that you can avoid if you choose to use this method of hanging your curtains. With that being said, if I really wanted to, I'm sure I could secure the rod to the hooks, maybe with some more mounting tape or something like that. But since, like I said, this is it. This is like the final look. This is what I wanted. I want the curtains to remain open. It's not for privacy. Again, it's just so that there's something going on here. There's some visual interest in this wall. And this is actually kind of exactly what I had in mind. So mistakes were made, but I'm actually really super happy with this. And I will definitely be using this same method to hang curtains elsewhere in the house, but I think that I will buy a more substantial rod. I think that's something that I would have spent a little bit more money on. So you make whatever decision is best for you. Again, if you want to prioritize coming in under budget and doing it as cheaply as possible, this works. This is fine. I'm good with this. I'm not going to buy a new rod. This is what it is. But when I do the next room and it's time to go buy a new rod, I will get something a little bit more substantial just so that it's sturdier and you know, I don't have to spend a ton of money, but I will know now that the rod is worth spending a little bit more money on to me. But yeah, I'm actually really thrilled with this. And this is it. We are pretty much done. Well, we're done with the curtains. I'm just going to slide the couch and the coffee table back so that my living room is all put back together and I can relax and see how it looks. All right, so you guys, this is what it looks like with the couch in place. Let me step to the side so you can see it without me standing in the way. Honestly, this is exactly what I wanted. I am thrilled with this. All right, I am so done. This project is officially complete. I hope you like the final look. I am really thrilled with it, and I'm really proud of myself for doing this because this is just not the kind of thing that I usually have the confidence to tackle. And as simple as this project was, I still didn't know that I was gonna be able to do it, and I'm really happy with the results. So hopefully you enjoyed the video and hopefully you found it useful. If you plan on using this technique, to hang curtains in your own home. Hopefully you can learn from some of the mistakes that I made while doing it, but hopefully you can also see that if I can do it, anyone can do it. It's super quick, it's super easy, it's super affordable, and I think it looks great. I'm really, really happy with it. So please let me know what you think of the final look, and let me know if this is something that you would try. If you did enjoy the video, please remember to give me a thumbs up and subscribe. However, this is not the type of video that I normally post. I'm a singer, so I post singing videos every once in a while, but mostly my channel is a fitness channel. So if that's something you're interested in, please subscribe, and remember that we have our 6th annual slap challenge coming up very soon. It is starting next week, Wednesday, March 5th. So please join me for that. So yeah, if you could just do all of the YouTube stuff, I would very much appreciate it. Like, subscribe, leave me a comment, and let me know what you thought of this project. And if you know anyone that might find this useful, then please feel free to go ahead and share the video. That is going to do it for today, and hopefully I will see you all right back here next Wednesday, March 5th, for day 1 of my 6th annual slap challenge. Bye.